Merry Christmas, everyone, and I have another banger of a video for you guys, and it's about Ballarat, Victoria. But just before I go into the video, I do want to say that I hope everyone had a good Christmas and they are looking forward towards the new year and looking to smash their property investment goals. I hope you're spending time with your friends, your family, because this is why we do this, right? We do property investing, we look to aim to grow our wealth so that we can take care of the people that we love the most. And so I hope you are doing that as well. Take some good rest time off and get ready to smash the new year with me, and we can make some amazing and awesome deals happen. And now, the reason I wanted to do Ballarat is because it is quite a highly requested video by many viewers within the community as well as on YouTube as well, where they've requested me repeatedly to do a video on Ballarat. And the reason I've kind of held off on Ballarat at this point in time for quite a bit of time actually is because it is not exactly a very hot market and it's not exactly a very warm market. It's more on the cooler side. It's not showing much activity, etc. However, I do know some big buyers agents are currently buying in this area for that exact very reason. And if you are one of those investors who are sort of counter-cyclical, looking to buy in an area where I can hold the property for a long time and happy to wait for growth, then this video is just right for you. And I know some of the viewers out there don't always have the most patience to watch the entire video of my breakdown of Ballarat. So I just wanted to quickly shout out these suburbs. These suburbs are the ones that you want to be focusing on and looking at in Ballarat. That includes Steilacoom, Ballarat East, Canadian, Sebastopol, Mount Pleasant, and Windermere. These are the suburbs that you want to be focusing on. But if you want to watch the full breakdown as to why I have these suburbs in my list as my top picks for Ballarat, then make sure you watch the entire video. And before I go into the breakdown of the video, if you are looking to smash your property investment goals in 2025, make sure you are subscribed to my private community where we have a bunch of like-minded investors and you can ask questions to myself and get expert advice. There's so much property templates, offer letters, etc. So make sure you are subscribed. We have over 78 members currently within the community, so make sure you're there as well. You don't want to be the one missing out. So the first thing I want to do is actually talk about Ballarat on the LGA level. And there are a couple of main things that I actually want to point out. Ballarat is a population size of about 120,000 people with a good amount of infrastructure spend within the entire LGA area. And when we actually look at Ballarat's typical price over the past 10 years, and in fact, across all of its time, it's had very steady growth over the past good 10 to 20 years. And what you can see is that it actually had a bit of a boom period during COVID and just before COVID, and then the prices started to peak and taper off into late 2023, and it's been on a negative trend since then, and it's now just starting to flatten out, if you can see that. And as you can see from the general supply and demand statistics of Ballarat in the total, we can see that there is about 814 approvals, which means there's 814 new possible homes that can come into this area. This statistic on the high level shows us there's 2% vacancy rate in the entire LG area, which means that there isn't as much rental pressure as we would like to see. And the other things that I want to call out is that we haven't seen a very big downwards trend in stock in market, but we are starting to see demand just start to increase, but that can change because we only have 3 data points, or realistically 2 data points where days on market has sort of dropped to 45 days. We want to see that trend start to continue to make sure that there is demand starting to increase within the area. Now, when we look at Ballarat, there is a total of 55 suburbs within the area, or about 55 suburbs within the area. Now, we want to shorten that very, very quickly, and I use my expert strategy for that. Now, there is a reason why I use these specific numbers, and I've made a separate video about that, so definitely go check that one out. But when I put in these numbers, and I put the vacancy rate about 2 and affordability index under 35 and rented to owner occupier ratio at 40, we have now filtered out of the 55 suburbs just 4 suburbs. And I'm going to go through a couple of them. And the first one I'm going to start with is Mitchell Park, and I'm just going to eliminate this suburb straight away because when you look at it, it's not really a suburb, it's just sort of the outskirts of Ballarat, a small segment of it. And when you look at the map as well, Mitchell Park, it's not something I would buy and not something I would consider. And we can also see the statistical reliability or confidence score as low. So let's forget about that. And I've also just arranged these suburbs by the rented to owner occupier ratio because I want to try buy in a market where there is more owner occupiers than investors. And the reason we do that is because we don't want a suburb to be dominated by investors because it creates more competition for us. The reason I put Delacombe as my first is because it has all the sort of right metrics. There's a good amount of infrastructure spend. We can see that the prices are still dropping, but like we said, that's the entirety of Ballarat. We can see rental growth is about 3%, so not great, but it is still pretty good. We can see the renter to owner occupier is 26, so there's a lot of owners living in that area. We can see affordability is under 30 years, which means the suburb is very, very affordable. Now, in stock on market, we can see 0.24%. We can see vacancy is 1.35%, and days on market is 54. And apart from that, we can see that Delacombe days on market, there's been about 3 to 4 months where it's sitting under that sort of line trend. And that's good, and that's very good to see. And we can also see supply starting to decrease and dwindle, which is also very good. Now, one metric I don't like to see is the fact that it's red over here and building approvals is at 2%. That's not good. However, it's not bad either. And when we look at Delacombe on the map, I don't know if I'm saying the name right, by the way, so hopefully I am. You can already see exactly where you want to be buying and where you don't want to be buying. When you look here, or the extra parts of Delacombe, we can see a bunch of vacant land, and already developers have started to build these cookie cutter homes that look like a bunch of ants live in. And these are the areas we want to be avoiding as investors. We want to be focusing on these good parts or these good pockets of Delacombe where they're sort of older houses, but they're built on big pieces of land and a solid brick veneer home or weatherboard home. And these are the sort of the areas we want to target. Will this vacant land have a possible impact on prices in Delacombe? Absolutely. But when those building approvals come and when those houses actually come, we're not too sure yet. So we can focus on the statistics that we do have at this point in time. And you can sort of see here there's a primary school, there's gyms, there's amenities, and there's also some industrial areas as well here. So it's not the perfect owner-occupier area, but it's one of the better areas of Ballarat in terms of statistics and when you look at it at the map level as well. So when we look at Canadian or Canadian, we can see a good amount of infrastructure spend, similar sort of metrics, 35, affordability is wonderful. These metrics aren't the best, like building approvals is very low, but we can see the stock on market is more or less increasing. There's a couple of downtrends, but I want to see more confidence before I enter this market, as well as the days on market is getting lower, which is very good to see. So again, and vacancy rate is also low, which means there's a good amount of rental pressure in this area specifically. The other location is Ballarat East, and if we do similar, not as much infrastructure spend, but when we start to go down to the metrics, we can see the renter to owner occupier ratio is a bit higher. It's around 40%, which is not ideal. Again, stock on market is not great. We want to see more positive trends in a downward direction and that to stay sort of downward. We can see days on market demand actually starting to pick up with the property being sold quicker and quicker under 2 months, which is good to see. When we look at Ballarat East, we can see that there is no sort of new developments happening here. It's quite close to a main road as well as sort of amenities as well. But so that gives you the top 3 in terms of the data and sort of the map layout presented to you as well, with some of the risks associated with buying Delacombe, for example, and Canadian. But what about these suburbs here? Why are these here 4, 5, and 6? And I'm going to explain exactly why they are here, even though they aren't in my filtered suburbs. Now, this next metric that I'm about to adjust will actually depend on your risk profile. Are you willing to buy in sort of a higher risk location in comparison to the other areas presented to you? And that's the rented to owner occupier ratio. So if I change that to 45, we get 3 more suburbs. And those 3 more suburbs are Sebastopol, Mount Pleasant, and Windermere. When we look at Sebastopol, one of the biggest things you'll notice is the yields. Yields above 5% in Victoria is an amazing achievement. You're normally sitting around 3 to 4, and 4 to 5 is a good yield. But if you get 5% above, you're doing very well in Victoria, in my opinion. Now, we can again see the price drops, the normal sort of trends. And so the biggest thing that you'll notice and the biggest call out is the 40% rented to owner occupier ratio. Now, yields have been rising at around 12%, and that's a combination of rents rising and property prices dropping, and that's why the yield is getting better and better and looking like an exponential growth. But the actual median rent increase is around 3.75%, which is pretty good. It's not bad, it's not great, but it's pretty good. The reason I included this suburb in the list, even though the rented to owner occupier ratio is very high, is there is actually some positive trends we find in Sebastopol. We can see the stock on market is very low at 13 listings at 0.3%, and it's also trending down over the past couple of months. Now we can see the past 3 months has sort of trended up. and we can monitor that. But over the past 6 months, it's sort of been trending down. Days on market has also been trending down from about 91 days at its peak to about 34 days currently. Inventory is very low, vacancy rates around 2%, and it's increasing. That's not a good sign. I really want that to stand at 2% if I'm investing in an area. Hold period has drastically increased. So on the data side, it looks good apart from the renter to owner occupier ratio and the vacancy rate. We can see that Sebastopol has good areas and bad areas. We can see the older style of homes in Sebastopol, which is the ones that we want to target, and we want to be these new homes or buying in these pockets of lands where new homes can be developed into. So we really want to stick to the nicer sides of Sebastopol, the older homes on large blocks of land. That's where we want to buy. Now, I'm not going to go through the data for the rest of them. You can do that in your own time as well. But Mount Pleasant and Windermere are other locations which you can consider. Again, just factor in the renter to owner occupier ratio. So that actually explains the location in terms of the data level. Now, I also do want to go through its economy, its diversity, and some other key factors of Ballarat and why it's a place that you can consider if you are looking into the area. In terms of Ballarat's economic output, it is very strong and it comes largely from construction, manufacturing, healthcare, and retail trades. These are its biggest sector. It's a well-diversified economy, and I have no issues investing in this location in terms of its economic diversity. By the way, guys, this site is publicly available. You can go in and do some more research and check out the location yourself in your own time. But in terms of economic diversity, it's very good. The other very good factor is that a lot of people who live in Ballarat also work in Ballarat. 81% do. A lot of people in Melton, for example, live in Melton, but they don't actually work in that area. Now, there's also a couple of good projects happening in Ballarat, including the Western Highway upgrade, which is under construction. We also have the Ballarat Major Events Precinct, where there's sort of an upgrade done to Ballarat's Major Events Precinct as part of Victoria's Regional Sports Infrastructure Program. One of the bigger projects that's been happening over the past few years is Ballarat's base hospital development, which about $655 million is being spent by the Victoria government to expand Ballarat's base hospital. As we know, Ballarat has a huge healthcare industry sector, so this helps it a long way, and it's already in its final stage to be on track for completion in 2027. And these are some key statistics which you can have a look as well. So in terms of Ballarat's economic diversity, as well as infrastructure projects and money being spent in the area, there are no issues with that. It's solid, it's pretty good. And so if you're looking to buy in Windermere, by the way, there's also a bit of a call out to make. Ballarat North is planning to rezone and develop this area as an urban growth zone. So Ballarat North, which is sort of this section here, you can sort of see in the documents of what that actually looks like. So if you are looking to invest in this area, do a bit of more research into the Ballarat North precinct structure plan and ask them what stage they're at, how long this will take to develop, are there houses coming, what infrastructure is coming in this area, will it impact the houses in Windermere, for example. These are all important questions to ask. If you are using a buyer's agent, call this out. Ask them, why are you buying in this area? What is this plan? Will this impact my house in the future? They should be able to give you a good answer. If they don't have a good answer for you, sack them. If you don't want to sack them, tell them to find out before you go ahead with the deal. So you may be sitting there and wondering, okay, so the data isn't very hot, it's not very cool, it's somewhere in the middle, and you may be sitting there, what type of investor is this for? Is this suitable for me? It really depends on who you are, your situation, your financial situation. But to really sum it up, it's for those who have a longer term vision, who are aiming to be counter cyclical. So they're investing in locations where other people aren't looking at. They're trying to buy something under market value, make money on the way in, and trying to find a really, really good deal and secure it. And they're happy to wait for growth, whether it's 12 months, 24 months, they're happy to ride it out. Right? It can also be good for the people who are nearing their borrowing capacity. It might also be good for people who already have properties in New South Wales or in other locations in Victoria, or people who have properties in Queensland and Perth. This could be a viable option for you. However, there is no data point suggesting that you're going to make $100,000 in the next 12 months. That's an unrealistic expectation to have. In the next 12 months, I don't expect it to make that sort of money. But if you are looking for a location which is a cool market where you can find something under market value, you're happy to wait for the growth, you're happy to have a long-term vision, then this could be a viable option. Obviously, do your due diligence, pick the right locations, pick the right property, and take your time, and you can score yourself a very, very good deal and a very good bargain. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of BAs and buyers agents are looking to buy in this area, because they can find amazing deals while other buyers agents are struggling in areas of regional Queensland. So I really hope this video has helped the people who are looking at Ballarat, the people who are looking into regional Victoria, and I hope there's clarity around that. And if you do have any questions, make sure you drop it down in the comments below. And if you have not already, make sure you are subscribed to my private community. It's just $35 a month. It's $1 a day. And if you are looking to start your 2025 in the right way by securing yourself a good property and avoiding silly mistakes, then make sure you are subscribed to my community. Till next time, thank you.